always here at the Pig and Whistle Inn in Stormwind, I go through a variety of subjects with regards to World of Warcraft. So grab a bottle or a pint, sit back and enjoy. Today's subject, we're going to be going over annoying things that people do in WoW, or just annoying things in WoW in general. But obviously, a lot of them will be to do with the people mainly, because there are loads of great people within WoW, but there are also a lot of people who aren't the best, we'll say. And obviously, there are just some common annoyances within World of Warcraft and gaming, as it were, as a whole. But we'll start off with the weekly stuff for retail. So there is an extra thing for this week. It is 9.1.5 release this week, so make sure you hop on, check out all of the new stuff in the patch. You can change your covenants. If you're Renown 80, you can get up to Renown 40 immediately just by buying something for 500 gold. You can send conquest gear to alt. You can send high mythic and stuff gear by valor points to your alts as well to gear them up quicker and stuff like that. It's a really good quality of life patch, to be honest, and it's worth checking out and stuff like that. But the world boss for this week is Morgeth and Valinor. Morgeth being the Moor boss, and Valinor being in Bastion, each awarding 500 anima each. So there's your weekly 1000 anima. Hop on over there, grab it, get that renown from that quest, nice and simple. And also you can get some conduits from them as well. The events for this week are World Quest bonus, or bonuses, so you get more reputation with the associated, it's not covenants, it's the reputations? You get more rep with the associated parties, I'll say that. So if you're doing Night Fade quests, it's going to be for the Wild Hunt rep and stuff like that. You get 50% more, I believe. And the brawl for this week is Comp Stomp. For those of you who don't know what Comp Stomp is you go into Arathi Basin and you play against 15 bots, and they're the easiest bots in existence. It's a nice, easy way to farm loads of honour, farm loads of renown, because you can get possible renown for it, and it's an easy way to just learn your class, I guess, learn your sort of buttons, and if you're playing an alt and you're not necessarily comfortable with where you've put some keybinds, you can learn that and get more used to that as well. So it's a really good way of just gearing up some alts as well, if you've got the time to spam them out, to be honest. So I've obviously got quite a few things on this annoying list, but some of them are kind of related to others. You might be able to... You can... I've forgotten the word for it. You can probably see yourself in these situations, or have been in these situations yourself. I can't believe I forgot the word for it. But yeah, let's hop straight into the first one. So this one is kind of a pet peeve, not a pet peeve, it's an annoyance for me. Again, these will all be annoyances for me personally. Some people might not find them annoying, some people might just not care about them, some people might find them quite fun, or quite who cares, that kind of thing. So this is very opinion based, this one. But people who AFK. Now, AFK is fine if you've got an emergency. I mean, by all means, AFK, it's just a game. If you've got some, whatever, you got an emergency, you need to go bathroom, you got a family emergency, that something needs to happen, you got to do something that's really urgent, that's fine. But it's when people AFK multiple times in, say, like the same dungeon or the same raid, and they take forever to come back, and it will be for something quite small. It will be for, grabbing a glass of water, and that glass of water will take about 5 to 10 minutes just to even get, and it will be like collecting your dinner or something. You might want to eat your dinner or something. Now, that's more of a just long break, if anything, and it's kind of annoying if you're playing on something like Classic, TBC Classic, where you can't necessarily just kick the person and find someone else in a very quick time. You have to wait, you have to trudge through some, mobs and trash to get to a boss, and then you just got to sit and wait at the boss if you don't have a geared enough group to complete said boss. But it's like, I can understand the odd AFK here and there because some people need to do something's urgent, that kind of thing. But again, it's the multiple times, and it's not just you get to the first boss, someone AFKs after the first boss. But it never is after the first boss. It's always before, like right before the first boss. They'll AFK and say, I need to grab my dinner. And you'll be sat there 5 minutes later, you're thinking, okay, they're still grabbing their dinner. You know, this is did they go out hunting for it? Did they have to go to the local well to grab their drink of water as well? It's like ridiculous, to be honest. And then they'll come back, it'll be like, sorry I took so long. It's whatever, let's carry on with the dungeon. You carry on, you kill the second boss, and then there's the third boss, the last boss or something, we'll say. And you're in like the last room, there's like a massive hallway of trash and stuff like that. You start clearing it, and then halfway through it's like, oh guys, I got a BRB. They don't give any description, it's just, oh BRB. You finish clearing that entire room, thinking that they'll be back in time, and it's just, they just sat there in the middle of that hallway, not moving. Their characters sat down, AFK, not doing anything. I've had so many dungeon runs where people AFK multiple times, and it's the most annoying thing in the world. They don't care that, you know, you guys have progressed for, like, towards the boss or to the boss, and now you're just waiting there. 4 of you just sat there like, yep, this is great fun. This is really how I wanted to spend my World of Warcraft evening, just sitting here waiting for someone to, you know, come back from the toilet for the 4th time in the dungeon run or something. Now, everyone is a victim of this, and everyone has also or will be the person AFKing. Now, I'm not excluded from this. I AFK, but when I do it is for a purpose, and I won't be in the middle of anything. So I AFK'd today actually in a dungeon run because I had to go and grab my dinner. No, not my dinner. Some like a snack from the oven or whatever, like just some chicken. And I feel really bad for doing it because I'm not contributing to the group and they're still clearing. So I came back and they killed 2 groups or something, and I felt really bad. And I just said, yeah, back and stuff. And I was just eating while playing, that kind of thing. Whereas people would leave, eat, come back, and then it's like, oh, I'm back. And it's like, oh, well, great, we cleared the entire dungeon. Yeah, thanks, you just sat there, got some free XP while we, you know, trudged through everything. It taking a lot longer to kill because we're a DPS town or something. It's one of them things that really grinds me. And if it's like, oh, you've BRB 10 minutes ago, and then it's, oh, BRB again, that really gets me. It's like, oh my god, I gotta sit here and wait again. Even in raids where people, you know, ready up, and then someone's explaining something to someone else, like a tank doesn't know the tactics for something, and then someone in chat goes, oh, BRB for 2 minutes, and it's like, what are you doing now? You were ready like 10 seconds ago. What do you have to do now? It's one of them things. You don't know what they could be doing. They could be doing something really important, something that they have to do. But it does just grind my gears a little bit, not going to lie. So another one that is an annoyance to me is people who don't understand stuff. And this can be understanding tactics, understand how to pull mobs, understand how mobs work in the game, understand certain things within the game, certain mechanics and everything like that. So we'll start, or I'll probably go with the biggest one, understand tactics. Now, tactics within raiding and group content can be killers. They can wipe your group, they can wipe your raid. More so in the raid environment, but there's some people that just don't get it. It takes so many like attempts on a boss, and so many times repeating these same instructions to these people, that you just don't. I don't get how it doesn't go through their mind and into their brain and just sit there and it be common knowledge at that point. So I've got a couple of examples of these. In my previous guild, we were raiding, Montcore, Blackwing Lair, Nax, AQ, that kind of thing. And there was a player that no one was really fond of. We'll say that. I'm not going to give any names or whatever, but he just didn't understand anything in terms of tactics. It was really like at the forefront when you would be clearing Nax Ramos, where you've got Patchwork who needs the 4 tanks to be the top 4 on threat, and he would do something like not be top 4 on threat, or you need somewhere like he needs to be in a certain position to not get feared or to not chain lightning anyone on Zeliek or something on the 4 horseman fight, but he would run in anyway. It's absolutely crazy how some people don't grasp these tactics. These are very simple tactics. But another one that is absolutely insane, and I don't know how the person didn't understand this at all, but is in retail with 9.0 and the raid Castle Nathria. So I did a couple times raiding Castle Nathria, not to any high extent normal. I think I did like 1 or 2 on heroic, like bosses. I just don't like raiding as a whole, to be honest. It's not my most enjoyed part of WoW. Very much the PvP side is. But in Castle Nathria you have a boss, and this boss is a council boss, and it is it's in a giant ballroom. So ballroom as in a dancing room, that kind of thing. And pretty much the bosses would jump out at a certain percent, and you would have to find your spotlight on the dance floor. So you've got a giant beam that is going onto one of these squares. You run to the giant beam, and they say shimmy right, shimmy left, sashay down, move up or something. Them sort of instructions. And you just follow the instructions. Shimmy right, you move 1 square to the right. Shimmy left, you move 1 square to the left. This person could not for the life of them understand this tactic. They could not do it. They could not understand that they had to go to a giant beam of light and follow the instructions to go right, left, up or down. And this isn't just after one. This isn't after one pull. This is after about 10 pulls where we've explained it multiple times to different people. Like, we're talking about completely different tactics onto like how to burst them down at this certain percent and stuff like that. And he's saying, and we've actually explained it literally as he's asked, what do I have to do here? So we've explained it to this person saying, you go to the beam of light and you follow the instructions. You go up, left, right or down. Pretty sure I said all of them. Yeah. And he asked the exact same question not 10 seconds after. And we say, we've literally just explained it, and there was a whole ruckus about it, and it was absolutely insane, because it was literally explained 10 seconds prior to him asking the question, plus it was, we've wiped 10 times doing this boss, and that's the thing, we didn't wipe and not get to that stage. We wiped on the stages after that, where there was 1 boss out of 3 left. And it's absolutely crazy how some people don't filter that information. It's like, oh, there's a giant beam of light. That's where I've got to go, surely. It's, no, that's a giant beam of light. I've got to go anywhere but there. That clearly indicates that is danger to me. I just don't get it. It's absolutely insane. But, some people just don't listen. Some people don't understand. Some people are just in their own little world when it comes to raiding, and they tune out. Some people have brain farts, I call them, but a brain fart can happen in one instance. If it happens a second instance, it's not really a brain fart, it's you just being maybe a bit stupid. But there's not much more I can say about that. people who don't understand are just kind of they're a liability sometimes in raids. They can bring, obviously, damage, healing, whatever, but they can be sometimes more detrimental to a raid group or something like that compared to how useful they are, in all honesty. The next one is, this is probably an annoyance for everyone, and this is an annoyance in general, but rude people. And obviously there's going to be rude people everywhere, but rude people with no sort of motive to be rude to you in a game. So again, this is going to apply to a lot of people. A lot of people would have experienced this, but it's more if someone's like advertising for a dungeon. This is a example that I can give as well. Someone's advertising for a dungeon, and I've messaged them saying, yeah, I'm a DPS here and stuff like that, and I get no reply. 5 minutes later, I see them put the exact same sign up, and I message them again, hi, I'm a DPS, stuff like that, but I still get no reaction, and it's just, they keep putting the post and just not acknowledging I'm there. So the reason why this is classed as a rude sort of interaction and why this person was being rude is because, well, firstly, no reply, and they are searching for this role. Secondly, it's because of my level. So in Burning Crusade, you have the higher end dungeons such as Shadow Labyrinth, Shattered Halls, Steam Vaults. There was one more. Oh, and the Netherstorm ones, Alcatraz, Mechanar, stuff like that. And this was for Shadow Labs. And ideally you want, 68 plus. 68 is kind of the lowest that you would go. But it is easily doable. This is because the bosses are level 72. So having a level 67 is going to be very tough to hit them in the group and stuff like that. They won't be pulling a lot of DPS or something like that. But I'm level 68. I've messaged him for, say, Shadow Labyrinth, I believe it was, and I just get no reply. And I know that it's because of my level, because I've had previous people that I've been looking at to join a Shadow Labs group have said, no, you're too low level, even though I'm clearly not. But people are so caught up in what is meta within the game at the moment. And I can understand it because people want to do the best that they can in a dungeon. They want it over quickly. They want just the rep and go next dungeon, all of that kind of stuff. But people need to learn that it is a game at the end of the day, and that other people just want to have fun in the game. And it's kind of rude just sort of denying that. I get that you want to, not have a 68 in your group for whatever reason, even though it's completely viable, considering you're all level 70 most likely. It's just an annoyance for me. I don't know why, but loads of rude people are within the game. You get people in trade chat asking a simple question on like, where is the warrior trainer? And you get people in trade chat who are always like, oh, he's, press escape, press log out, and he's there. And it's just like, yeah, because that really helped out a lot. That really, did so many things. It's not even like funny. That's the thing. It's just being stupid and annoying. Obviously, you get the people who will actually help out the person. But what I've noticed is the rude people are the ones that generally talk a lot more in like trade chat, looking for group. Well, looking for group, not necessarily because a lot of people are in there, but like trade chat, general chat, stuff like that. That's what I've kind of noticed. The more chilled and relaxed people are the ones that join groups and aren't all talkative on sort of trade chat and stuff like that. They don't have, I would say, as big of an ego. I'm not going to lie. But it's a tough line to find because it could just be realm-based that I see this stuff and sort of notice it. Other realms could be completely different. It could be there's none of this at all. But I highly doubt it. I feel like it's going to be a lot of the same, to be honest. Now, this one's very vague, but I'm going to put these two together. It's stupid people in the game and people who have no sort of clue. And they're kind of the same, but they're kind of not. Stupid people you can just find in any game, any situation out in the world. You can find that. But people who have no clue, and no clue is in they might not understand a certain element of the game. They might not understand, tanking. They might not understand how to heal most efficiently. Might not understand threat. They might not understand how to DPS perfectly. Whatever it is. But the ones that I usually come across are tanks. So, don't get me wrong, I love every tank and healer that are in the game. I play DPS. I have a couple of characters that will be a tank and a healer, if that. But I admire those who just play tanks and love the role. I admire those who play healers and love the role. It's amazing, because you can't have, too many tanks in WoW or healers. But you'll find people who have tanked for forever, to be honest. They've tanked for years and years. I'm not going to talk about the people who have just started picking up tanking, because that's tough to pick tanking up. You need a lot of time to process what to do, how you can pull stuff and everything like that. But people who have no clue are the ones that have tanked for years or healed for years, or even DPS'd, because they say oh my god, tank, you're awful because you can't hold threat. It's no, you can stop DPS. You're a warlock, you have soul shatter, you're a mage, you can use invisibility to drop all your aggro, you're a hunter, you can feign death, for God's sake. Just feign death and you get an aggro reset. This isn't on the tank. The tank can't do as much damage as you can, so that's why you're pulling threat, that kind of thing. So it isn't just tank and healers, don't get me wrong. But this is what I usually see. It'll be a tank and they'll be pulling certain mob groups. And in dungeons, you have to pull mobs a certain way. Otherwise, what it can do is chain another pack and you can possibly wipe. So I've had tanks that don't know how to or when to pull certain mobs, and it has led to the group wiping. And, you sort of offer it up for them. I know how to pull, these mobs. Do you want me to sort of help you out? They just don't say anything. It's meh. And it's okay, well, you're the one who's caused this wipe, so I'm offering my help. If you don't understand or don't know how to pull these certain mobs, then let me know and stuff like that. But it's when they can't take the help is what also annoys me. Warrior tanks in TBC at the moment, I especially find, because they don't necessarily have the best AoE, we will say that. And, a lot of the warrior tanks don't get into groups. I'm not going to lie. If I saw a warrior tank whisper me, I'm kind of on the fence about just trying to find a paladin, that kind of thing. It's really weird. But they can't... A lot of tanks don't know how to pull mobs. And it really infuriates me because it leads to wipes. And this actually will lead me on to another one later, but I'm going to put it in now. It is dying to other people's mistakes. That I cannot get over. So I'm very competitive when it comes to any sort of game. I'm competitive in any aspect of the game. In dungeons, I look at the DPS meter, and I always want to be top of the DPS meter. In raids, I want to be top of the DPS meter, even though I haven't got the best enchants or anything. I know that I'm not going to be, but I really try still. And I usually get top 5, so I'm not too, upset about that, considering I, don't mid-max everything. But when I die in WoW, and it is my fault, I know what I've done wrong, and I know how I can fix it, and I know how stupid the idea was to pull 20 mobs when I've got 10% mana. It's that kind of thing. I know the mistakes that I made. If I died to someone who ultimately kills me, and there's nothing that I could have done to stop it, such as maybe if I healed the tank once in this instance, he might have survived, he might have kept aggro, and then we might have been able to clear the packs, anything like that, then it is kind of annoying for me, because it's oh great, got to run back, not like because of this person pulling 20 packs on top of us. Now, I try and I play a druid and mage. So a mage is really good because invisibility now in TBC, so you can run away invisibility and survive. If there is a botched pull or something like that from the tank, then you won't necessarily be dying as much. Mages just don't die as much in general. If I'm on my druid though and I see a pull has been, poorly executed, I will attempt to go in cat and stealth away. Now, when I do this, everyone realises that it's a botched pull as well and starts to scatter. They scatter like it's an alien invasion and you're running away from these like UFOs landing on the middle of the street or whatever. Everyone goes to all four corners of the room and I'm just sat there in stealth and I see this player running towards me with 20 mobs behind him and I'm like, oh god, please just don't run into me. Ultimately they do, and I get caught out of stealth and I die. That is probably the most annoying death that I can ever have. This has happened to me multiple times already in TBC, and yeah, I stealthed so that I could survive. I could use my rebirth on the healer, and then the healer can res everyone up as well. So we can get back into the dungeon quicker, and we can crack on more. It's like it never happened, but no, you decided you wanted to take out the poor little kitty cat that was in stealth, and it's one of them things. I don't know. So, you have people who aren't as aware. And this, again, is in a lot of these are in dungeons, I've noticed. But you get some weird groups in dungeon groups, I'm not going to lie. So, awareness is a big factor for me. This is in any game, actually. Any game at all, I'm very aware of my surroundings. I'm very aware of what is happening. I gather all of the information that I can within the game and what the game gives me. And I know where certain people are within a map if I'm playing a multiplayer game. Absolutely endless information that you can get. Some people, they don't do that. They play like their tunnel vision 24/7. So it's just, I see this mob right in front of me. That's it. Now I'm going to press S on my keyboard and slowly back away because I have aggro on it. And what they don't realise is they're backing away into another group of mobs. And they just walk into the group of mobs and pull them, which will most likely lead to a wipe because they're instantly going to die if it's a squishy target and stuff like that. So, again, this is silly mistakes that people can kill me for, to be honest, and it's just lack of awareness. And you see a lot of that in WoW. You see a lot of that when people backtrack and don't look around their character. They don't know the sort of room layout. They don't know, or they don't look at where mobs are constantly. It's one of them things. One of the good fun ones, to be honest, is when like there are rogues in Shadow Labs, and a rogue will open up on our healer, and the tank will be at the front, not even looking back or realising the healer's dying. And all of the DPS, all the rest of the group are dealing with this one rogue that was on the healer. And he's run into like two groups to AoE them down and just dies. And it's like, oh, okay, I suppose you didn't see this guy killing your healer in the back line or whatever. There's awareness of different types, but the ones where you just back up into another group of mobs do get me a bit. They do tickle me, and it is quite funny sometimes. Because you can just see it happening. You can just see them slowly backing away, and then it's just loads of orc sounds, and then a shadow bolt is being casted at him, and it's ridiculous. There's loads of stuff that annoy me in WoW, I'm not going to lie. But, just dealing with that copium in the game. Now, this one a lot of people can probably relate to as well. But you have campers in the game. And what a camper is, you may as well say it as it is. They set up shop and pitch a tent on your dead body. This is usually rogues, this is usually in Stranglethorn Vale, and this is usually because they're double your level. Now, they just They are there to make your life a living hell. That's it. That is their sole purpose. They will sit there for hours just waiting for you to res to kill you again. And because they're a rogue, because they're level 60 and you're level like 35-ish, you can't see them in stealth. Like, you have to be directly on top of them and stood there for a second or two to see them. And it's utterly ridiculous, to be honest, because that's all they do. That's all they're doing in the game. They're sitting there to kill someone half their level. It's absolutely bonkers. I don't get it. I can kind of see how people would enjoy it, because it's quite funny to, like, they're probably getting a kick out of it from the amusement of upsetting someone else. But to sit there for a few hours to kill a level 35-ish about 5 times in an hour, it's kind of just like, really? It's just a waste of time, you know? I don't really care that I'm being killed. I'm sat here watching something on my other monitor or whatever. It's one of them things. Like, you're not really caring. But they're getting a massive kick out of it because, I don't know, they can't PvP their own level. They get killed by anything that's, you know, within a 10 level range of them. It's that kind of thing. But campers aren't necessarily the worst one for me. I don't mind them as much. I understand why they are doing it, to annoy me, and I don't get annoyed in that instance because that's what fuels them. And that's why I don't get annoyed in that instance, and it just makes sense not to. Because, like, oh, okay, well, that's what they want, so I'm not going to give it to them. That kind of thing. But there's a lot more of annoying things that people do, just that things in games as a whole, like, oh my god, I can't get my sentence out. So many annoying things. There's so many annoying things in the game and what people do in the game that, you know, I just sort of had to talk about them. These are only a few. There can be a lot of others that I might not have even mentioned, might not have even thought of or come across that other people have, because everyone has a different experience in the game. Loads of people might think that the community is the worst thing in the game. Some people think the community is the best thing in the game. But you're obviously, in a community, you're going to get people who are, you know, dickheads, and you're going to get loads of people who are nice. But, you know, you don't know if it's going to be 80% dickhead or 20% nice or the other way around. You roll the dice on the servers that you join, to be honest. But anyway, what can you do about it? It's just something that you got to live with when you play any sort of game. Hi there, Warcraft fans. It's just me again. Wanted to thank you for your time in listening to this week's podcast. I love making these for you all, and I couldn't be happier in doing so. Seeing the downloads go up and up each week is amazing. You can show your support more by something as simple as rating this episode, or by dropping me a question via email that I can answer in a later podcast. To take it that extra step further and really show that you love the content that's being produced, you can check out the Pig and Whistle Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee page. Either of these would be a massive help to continue what I'm doing right now for you guys. Thank you all very much for your time, and go with valor, friend.